when we saw this deal, I think my first impression was, is this for real? Because it sounds almost too good to be true. I'm always surprised that no one knows about your services. It was just a little bit more expensive than the risk we take buying a human antibody that sometimes works and sometimes not. I was always surprised that we never made any comments on that. You just trusted me and my colleagues that came up with the edges of design. Like, okay, this is very similar. This is what we want to target. If we go there, we can validate. So yeah, that was very nice.
Now, can you introduce yourself and share your background and current focus in zebrafish research?
Yeah. So I'm Erik de Vries. I'm currently working as assistant professor at Radboud University Medical Center. I did my PhD in zebrafish research, working on osteoporosis, for which I was the first in our lab to use transgenic zebrafish. This was, I think, I started 15 years ago or something. So there was, well, for me, it felt like the beginning of zebrafish research. We were still annotating genome final bits and discovering transgenesis, pre-CRISPR.
Question is, have you tried making custom antibodies with other companies, and what were the outcomes and challenges?
My only personal experience is we did a monoclonal antibody for the human ortholog of our gene of interest with Biodem. It's crazy expensive. I think we paid about 20,000 euros for that.
That's a lot.
But yeah, now we have a community resource, and we really took it step by step, and I think that's why we chose that company, because they offered to do a no cure, no pay. So as soon as we saw that there was reactivity in the mouse, then we paid for the next step, and then step by step, and anytime we could step out. So I have seen, like testing the sera, the pre-immunes, slowly looking for signal in the culture supernatants. That went quite well. We actually were considering setting up some programs for zebrafish antibodies at the time, because for our main protein of interest, we used to be able to buy something. So we collaborate a lot with Monty Westerfield. I'm sure you know the name from fish work. I think back in the day, he made some custom antibodies with I don't know what company, and they started to sell the rest to other users. But at some point that was depleted, and then so we were actually close to setting up a custom program, and then we saw your offer. I cannot remember where. I know it's one of the questions, so I was thinking, but I cannot recall. And we just thought, well, let's risk it. I mean, it was just a little bit more expensive than the risk we take buying a human antibody that sometimes works and sometimes not. So
it's only $600, almost.
So we paid 400 euros and 600 euros for an antibody, depending on which supplier, etc. Which it's
and that kind of was the whole point. We want to keep the price discussion out of the discussion. Okay, so the next question is, I guess you just answered that, but how did you first learn about Boster's custom antibody service, and what factors influenced your decision to choose our service over other methods or providers?
So as mentioned, I don't remember where. It was either probably some commercial email or maybe at one of the zebrafish meetings, but I don't remember. I also at the time never heard of your company, so when we saw this deal, I think my first impression was, is this for real? Because it sounds almost too good to be true. And I think the second thing that we wondered is, how much flexibility and freedom do we have? So I know that now, but I think for us that was quite important that our antibody was directed at a specific part of the protein, because we knew that in almost every knockout, at some point you have a protein truncating mutations, and truncating proteins would be formed probably up to 90% of the protein. So we wanted the body against the part that's always gone, wherever you put the mutation. So that was, I think, a concern, but I reached out and you were very open to design it like that. And then we thought, well, why not? Let's see. And it's actually one of the most beautiful antibodies still from the projects that we did with you.
Well, thank you very much for that feedback. It's actually, that's interesting insight. So when you have a point knockout, there would be a truncated form of that protein sometimes expressed.
Yeah.
Okay, I did not know that. Okay, thanks for letting me.
So it really depends, I guess, on the protein, and
learning
more and more about that also with different transcript and protein isoforms. For example, that's quite important to know where you target, but I think that's also one of the next questions as well.
Okay, so my next question is, can you describe your experience with ordering and using our custom antibodies?
I think it's always, we have good email contact. Everything is up for discussion, I guess, in terms of design. Now, I actually never got any critical questions from you, like why are you designing it like this, or what does that do to general use? Because of course, part of your business model is to also sell it to others. I think that never was a concern that at least that you spoke of, that our application would be so niche that it's not relevant to you. I also have to confess that this has never been the case in our design, but we always wanted antibody ourselves. But I was always surprised that we never made any comments on that. You just trusted me and my colleagues that came up with the how do you say, the edges of design. Like, okay, this is very similar. This is what we want to target. If we go there, we can validate. So that was very nice. The ordering process itself, well, we discussed this also by email with Mary. We cannot order from you directly. We have to use BioConnect because it's a custom project. It's always a bit complicated, but they are used to it by now. A little bit extra, but well, that's fine.
We're happy to have them facilitate this.
Actually, I've had a talk with them earlier today because someone else is taking over for my previous contact. Was sensitive to the fact that something that's custom but used a lot should be somehow made easier. So we were into that. But that's just the paying and the official ordering part. And after that, I think I always get the updates on the status. I think there was one time where the first immunization was not good enough. I think you made a quote to have an extra shot for a small amount of money. I don't remember exactly, but I think that's something we figured out. We
have a lot of contingency plans in like every step. These things do happen. When we immunize about 3,000 rabbits a year, and these things, they just happen. It's a numbers game at this point. They do happen every month.
Exactly. But I think it's also was clear up front what you do for this limited amount of money, and that some steps then cost extra. But I think we only needed that once, and then it worked. So
Well, thank you for that feedback. Okay.
I don't actually remember anymore, but I think given how complicated it was always reasonable.
Thank you.
In lockdown, I remember, I think the stock got stuck in Wuhan, but At least I think you have a lab over there or something, because
our main manufacturing headquarters in Wuhan.
Yeah, exactly. So I think you were close to shipping, and then everything closed down.
Well, during that time.
Something I can blame you for.
Well, during those times. Fun time.
We were not allowed to use it
anymore. But that's half a decade ago, almost.
Feels like. It is, but it also really feels like a long time ago.
Point on there. So next question is, would you recommend our service to other researchers facing similar challenges?
I would, and I have. I'm always surprised that no one knows about your services. So in my close proximity, I recommended you, I think, 2 or 3 times. I know of at least 2 projects that have been started, I think. One that I actually still mediated because we were buying 2 more or something, but
Well, thank you very much for that.
And I would still recommend you. I'm not a lot in touch with other zebrafish researchers anymore. not, yeah, because we're not visiting these big zebrafish meetings anymore, but I think the service is valuable to all.